Welcome to my video on bullet journaling. I have my journal from last year and my journal for this year. But before I start, I just want to quickly talk about bullet journals because there are a lot of videos online and there are some people doing some pretty incredible stuff, some beautiful, beautiful bullet journals. Originally, Ryder Carroll was the person who has kind of like coined this and the bullet journal style. And what I find really interesting is that he struggled with ADD, and so he created this. This was a tool, this was a resource for him in order to, stay organized and to help himself. And so I think that's really awesome. So I know there's a lot of different thoughts and opinions on how a bullet journal should be. And my opinion is that there was a purpose for it originally. And so if this is working for you and helping you, that's the whole point of it. So it's just so cool to see all the different variations of how people have interpreted it. You have people who have these immaculate bullet journals with these, it looks like you bought it at a store. It's pretty incredible. And then you have people that are like have it that's a little more practical too. So there's a variety of bullet journals. So research, find what works for you. That's my advice. So this is my journal from last year. It's funny because when I was in college, and I think Ryder Carroll and I are about the same, we're close to the same age. When I was in college, I actually was doing kind of a bullet journal thing, and I didn't realize that's really what I was doing, but it was just bigger as a sketchbook, and I actually printed out calendars and glued them in because I didn't want to draw them all out. And so I was kind of already doing this to keep myself organized. So my bullet journals, I call them alignment journal. It's my alignment journal. And I use it as a planner. I have my calendars in there. It's a sketchbook. It's a place for inspiration. So it's a multi-function functionality for me. So this is the one from last year. So I'm not really going to go through this one, but I just wanted to show you that I really love collaging and decorating the outside of the journal. That's like really big for me. And then what I did is I tore a page out from last year. I hope you can see it's kind of, the light in here is pretty bright, so it's reflective. I took a cereal box. This tag board is really good to make stencils. And I glued it onto the page I tore out. And then I took packing tape, put it on here, and then I cut out lines for the calendar. So I needed to streamline it. I work full time. I have a family. I don't have time to do some of the meticulous stuff that I've seen some people do. And so I need to streamline things. And so I made this stencil. So now I put this in my journal, and then I can just draw out the lines for the calendar, and then I fill the rest of it in. So that has been fantastic. So that's what I used this from last year. So for my journal, I just used a regular journal. If you wanted to do a lot of painting and sketching or watercolor, you may want to find one that has like special watercolor paper. So the first thing I did for my bullet journal is I wrote down a list of all the things that I wanted to have in here, because there are different types of journals. And I know that a lot of videos that I've seen online, people say, oh, well, I have all this extra space in the back of my journal. And so what I have done to fix that problem is I've gone through my whole bullet journal with sticky notes before I do anything, and I place sticky notes where I want things to be. So for example, I would just stick it in for the months, and then I have my sections. So I made a list first, and then I went through and I put watercolor on all the months. So as you can see, I have the tabs for months, and I just took white tape, and it's duct tape, and I put little tabs in each section, and I'm going to go through all this and show you. Now, again, like I said, I am super, super busy, so I do 2 months at a time. I don't have the time to go through and do the entire year, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. So break it off like a chunk at a time. Do what you can. Don't be overwhelmed by all these immaculate bullet journals you see online. Don't get overwhelmed by that. Do what works for you. What works for me is to do it 2 months at a time. So I do go and I do the watercolor. I did watercolor in every section, and then I have like the month, but then I go in and I actually do draw out the month. So I have my tabs, and then I have my sections as well. And so I'm going to just start going through this a little bit more, but I just wanted to preface it with that I do go through and I plan throughout the whole thing so that I use up all the space in it. And I have sections in between the calendars to draw and for notes and that type of thing. So I decided to do my vision board inside of my bullet journal this year. I didn't do that last year. And when I do a vision board or a dream board, people call it different things. I use general terms and things, and it opens up to more possibilities when you do that. And I use gel medium. I love gel medium. It's like one of my favorite things to use that as an artist, and it's because I love collaging so much. But you can use a paintbrush and gel medium, paint on the glue, and then put the pictures down and then put glue on top of it. And then it makes it one, it binds it all together basically. And so then this is my first page. Again, like I said, I'm calling this my alignment journal. I love saving things from old books, and so that's what this is. If I have like stickers or random things that I find that I don't want to fall out, I will put in here. And then I also, so I cut apart a children's book. I'm really into gardening, as you're going to see in a minute. And so I just cut out pictures from the gardening book and glued it into here. And then I also, what I did was, I did like a flashback. I put flashback to 2020, and I put the positive things that came out of 2020. And then I know that a lot of people have habit trackers, and honestly, I'm tracking so many things that it works better for me to have a digital habit tracker. I mean, I have like a list of 30 different things that I'm tracking, and so I use an app, and so then I can just print it out at the end of the year, whatever I want to print out from that app, and put it in here. And so that's what I did for the report. And then I wanted to put the lunar calendar for the year up because I am having a major surgery this year, and you are not supposed to do that when it's a full moon. And I'm not going to get into all the particulars about that right now because that's not what this video is about. But so I just find it really interesting how much we're affected by the phases of the moon. And so I put that in there. It's something I want to focus on this year and think about. And then I put for 2021 for this year, I put kind of the things I'm looking forward to that are going to unfold this year. Okay, so my first page in each section for each month, I have a gratitude page, and then I have like a little condensed calendar that just helps me if I need to look at the day. Okay, what day does the 27th fall on? Okay, a Wednesday. That just helps me. And then this is just kind of a doodle page. So I write things I'm thinking about. And then the other thing about this is like, say something's going to happen in July. I can skip to July and I can write down right here, like say something important is happening on the 20th. I can write that down right here. And so then when I do go to set up my actual calendar and everything, I have the notes right here for it. So, and then, so this is my calendar. And again, I've been inspired by different people online, and mine's kind of a mix of a bunch of different thoughts and styles because I had to find what works for me. I like having a calendar that I can personally write little notes on, but then this has been like the most functional part of my planning is having these sections. And so I put appointments, events, homework, because I need to keep that separate, things that I need to remember, and then other, but my workload list coming back to teaching in person was just so long. So it took up a lot of space. It normally doesn't take up that much space, but I actually went down into here. And then I have a mantra and goal for the month. And so my mantra for this month has been beliefs are active vibrations. So if you're constantly thinking negative things, you're going to draw negativity towards you. If you're constantly thinking positive things, it helps to bring positivity towards you. And then the goal is just to get positive momentum going because again, I'm back in person with students teaching, and there's been so many changes this year, just the school year, bouncing back and forth. And so I just want to keep positive momentum going. And, so I decorate it. You can do themes like for February. And again, as I go through the year, I go in and I decorate and I add different things. That's what's fun to me. That's what makes this fun. It's like a sketchbook. So when you see me going through this, it's not finished. I'm going to be working on it through the whole year. This is just the basic setup. So going to February, I have a lot of things that I'm going to add to this. And definitely Black History Month and Lunar New Year celebration are things that I want to have a focus on. And so that's why that's right there. So yeah, so there's that. Okay, so that's the calendar section. So let's skip ahead. So this little section, we have chickens, and so I always have a plethora of feathers, and I love that. So this is one of our chicken feathers. It's from one of our Wyandottes. And so I just did kind of like mixed media thing here. So one cool thing about this too is like if you have blank pages, if you are an artist and you're painting, what I do is I just take the excess paint that's on my brush and I open up my journal and I find an empty page and I will just like paint the excess paint onto the page. And so it's just kind of a nice way to conserve paint, but then you're also adding that paint element to your bullet journal. And then I just have a clear piece of paper. I just like having options. Again, I'm an artist. I like having options. So that's a leaf that I collected a couple years ago. I glued that down with gel medium. You can see it kind of came through the paper a little bit because I had to use so much glue. So memories. So I have this section. If there's like specific things I want to write down that I want to remember, it's kind of in a list format. And then this is a photo journal. So in my other bullet journal, which I will pull out from last year, honestly, I didn't really use this that much. So the Polaroid pictures, like I took some, but it just wasn't something that I did every single month. And so I'm making adjustments. So as you do this, you're going to be making adjustments probably based off you're seeing something that somebody else is doing and you're like, hey, I want to try that. And then you try it and you're like, oh, well, this doesn't really work for me. I didn't really utilize it. So for me, this photo journal page is just for me to put Polaroid pictures in here. They may even come over to this side too. So that's what that part's for. This is my gardening section. So again, when you're doing your bullet journal, what are you passionate about? What do you wake up in the morning thinking about? Like, what are you excited about? For me, that's permaculture. I am so into permaculture. And it is like, I love gardening. I love community. I love the idea of a sustainable future and food forests and all of that. I could do a whole nother video on that. I'm so passionate about it. So of course I have a section in here for that. I just started learning about natural dyeing. So I want to start growing things in my garden this year that I can use for dyes, for natural dyes, especially as an art teacher. That really connects with what I do even at work. I can teach my students that. And then I have like a little section in here too, like even what I was trying to come up with a definition for permaculture. So I'm still working on it. So don't quote me on, this is not my final sentence for it. But basically, if you don't know what permaculture is, it's an efficient and regenerative philosophy and practice that works with nature to create closed and stacked systems that are successfully designed and fruitful. So I gotta workshop that a little bit more. Anyway, so as you can see, I'm gonna be filling this up as the year goes on. It's not full. And then I have this section for my 2 YouTube channels. So I have an art YouTube channel and a gardening YouTube channel. And so obviously this is blank because it's January. I'm just starting out, so there's not very much in here. But as I have extra paint on my brush, I'll be filling in, and adding more of an artistic feel to this. So Instagram and YouTube. So that's what this page is. And then I want to start keeping track of the seeds that I plant, when I plant them, like the time that I plant them, so I can keep better track of that because I'm going to be growing a lot of food. So that's what that is. And then next year's, this is a section for ideas for next year, and then plants I want to grow. Like if I find something that seems really interesting to me. So again, make this, what are you interested in? What do you want to track? And then I have like a prayer section. Some of the sections in here are kind of personal, so I'm not going to like show them, but I have a prayer section and I'm praying and for friends and stuff like that, and family and myself, obviously. And then in this little section right here, so school ideas. I really want to eventually start a school. I've been teaching for over 13 years, and I love the job that I'm at right now. I love the school that I'm at. But I really don't like our educational system. I just don't feel, I think kids should want to go to school, and they should not want to leave, that they're having so much fun and learning so much. So I do eventually want to start a school. And so this is my little section for ideas, because that, dreams, that kind of thing. Okay, so I have a section for books that I want to read, and then art and music, and actually podcasts. I'm going to add a section in here for podcasts as well. Normally when I want a book, I'm really bad with that. I just buy it. I should go to the library and check out books. I love books so much. We have so many books. So typically when I write books down in here, they're ones that my friends have recommended to me. And then this is the journal section. So I like to use this. So I glued this in. You can see with the little feather for kind of a place marker for my journaling. And this is from a permaculture winter gathering workshop a virtual workshop that I went to. And so this is just notes from it. And then the other thing that I do a lot throughout the year that I don't have it to show you right now because it's January. I was drinking tea during this meeting. And so I took this little tab from the tea bag. It says, "We are born wise, we are born complete." And I just glued it on there as kind of like a memory keepsake. This is a sticker that I hot glued on. You can still peel the sticker off. It's still usable. And then, so I was going to show you too. So I journal in different ways. So this is from the meeting too. And so I did like circles and then like filled in when different people were talking. So let me keep going here. Okay, and then I have this little section because one thing I do want to focus on this year is just paying attention to how we are, like what we're purchasing. We really have tried to eliminate a lot of plastic out of our lives. It can be really hard to do that. And so this is my eco living section so that I can write down any ideas or even influencers, people that are, doing zero waste living and really have a lot of great ideas for that. So that's what that section's for. And then, then this back section, this is just me being kind of playful. These are a bunch of stickers that I have that instead of just having them in like an envelope somewhere or sitting somewhere, I hot glued them into this section. So I can actually still pull the sticker up. I just cut off all my nails, so I don't really have nails to pull them up, but if you can see like these, there we go. I just hot glued the plastic part. So look, you can still pull the sticker up and you can actually use it. So that's my little sticker section. And then the back, for those of you old enough to get bills in the mail, when you get bills in the mail, you get these really cool envelopes. And for privacy reasons, they put patterns on them, and there's some really cool patterns on those envelopes. So I like to recycle them. So I cut this out, and then this is a little pocket that I can put my stickers in. And then this was from a drawing that I just glued down. So again, I use this like a sketchbook. So I will be doodling and like drawing and writing and doing all kinds of stuff in this section. I like to give myself choices in my bullet journal. And then I'm not done painting the skateboard. I have a goal to learn how to play guitar this year. I have a friend who's going to teach me how. And so that's why I put this on the front. And then I also want to get a longboard this year. And so that's why that's on there. But I'm still working on painting that. I did hot glue elastic on here. And so I can keep everything closed. And so if I do put it in my bag, it doesn't get jammed open. So there you have it. There is my bullet journal. It is really fun to do this. And again, I just can't emphasize enough that make this work for you. It doesn't really matter what other people are saying about how to do a bullet journal or you're not doing it the right way. Writer Carroll, who started this whole movement, he did it to help himself. Like he did it to help him. And I think, if it doesn't help you, then why are you doing it? If it brings value to your life and it's something that you enjoy doing, then awesome. That's what I would say. So thank you for spending the time with me to go through this bullet journal. And I hope that you are able to create something that really works for you.